There we go. Oh, we are switched. 1 second. Let me switch us back here. It's so funny. Sometimes it'll switch the two of us so that I'm you and you're me, but we don't want that. We want you to be you and me to be me. Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Welcome to another Mental Health Monday. Oh, one more thing to fix. Hold on. Why is that one not working? 1 second, y'all. I'm not sure why this is not. Oh, there we go. Okay, I just had the wrong thing. I just had the wrong thing on. That's fine. Okay, let's try that again. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Mental Health Monday. I am very excited to have you here today. Really glad you can take the time out of your day to join me and Olivier as we talk about plant-based nutrition and chronic diseases tonight. I am excited for the conversation. I hope that you are as well. We do have a question queue open. If you are wanting to ask our guest any questions, feel free to put a question into that chat by typing !Q. Follow it with your question, and that'll put it into the chat. If you are here on YouTube, go ahead and just put your question into the chat, and I'll make sure that we get it addressed as well. I am still working on a solution to get that set up on YouTube too, so hopefully within the next few weeks we've got that going. But Olivier, thank you so much for joining us today and just for being here and having this conversation with us.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really, really grateful to be here.
Yeah, and just so you'll know, it's like 2:30 in the morning for Olivier. So huge thank you for staying up for this. I know that's a huge roadblock for some folks because they'll reach out to me and be like, hey, I really want to join you. Is there any way we could do it not at the time that you do it? And I'm like, man, this is the only time in my day that I can do this, and because it is that live show. So really appreciate you staying up, taking the time, and that is dedication to what you're here to say today. But y'all, today I am speaking with Olivier Mankondo. He is a speaker, author, and weight loss wellness coach who's got an incredible story. After switching to a plant-based diet, he lost 77 pounds, reversed multiple chronic conditions, and hasn't been sick a single day since 2016. He is now dedicated to helping others find that same level of health and vitality through coaching, speaking, and his book, The Plant-Based Nutrition, How It's Going to Change Your Life. He also speaks 4 languages and brings a really unique global perspective to health and wellness. If y'all are looking to connect with Olivier anywhere, I'm going to post some links into the chat. So feel free to click through to those and follow him on YouTube, TikTok, look at his website, grab his book, all those things. But again, thank you just so much for your time and energy today joining us here. And we do have a couple questions already, looks like, which is great. Those links did not go through on 1 second. Sorry, looks like the links on YouTube don't want to go through. There we go. We'll try that. Hopefully that works. But we do have a couple of questions already in the chat. So Bite Mark would like to know, what's your favorite poem? And we did talk about this one briefly ahead of time. So I'll amend it and say, what's your favorite song or / poem?
Yeah, my favorite song is Smooth Criminal from Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's a great one. Have you heard the Alien Ant Farm version of that one?
No.
No, it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's a great song. My kids love to sing that song. They sing it all the time. But Alien Ant Farm did a cover of it, and it's slightly different. And my youngest complains every time we hear that song. If it's the Alien Ant Farm one, he's like, no, the Michael Jackson one's better. But it's a great one. So yeah, so that question was from Bite Mark. Bite, thank you so much for being here early, asking that. She says, I've seen her calendar, can confirm it's the only time available. It's so true. Rose, I see you in the chat. Welcome. Feel free to ask any questions if you would like to. So Olivier, before we get into really our topic today, can you just share a little bit about kind of what led you to specializing in wellness coaching?
Yeah, so what's happened is that, like we said, in 2016, I was able to adopt a plant-based nutrition, and this had a profound change on my health, my life, and all that. And that's why I wanted to help other people as well, my brothers and sisters. And that's why I decided to do this coaching and to go and speak as well, so that people can really, really be informed, and they can see that it's possible to change. If you are sick and stuff like that, it doesn't mean that you are stuck and there's no way out. I just wanted to show people that there's a way out, and by having that coaching, I'll be able to to help other people to be able as well to reach or create a optimal health, a great level of health for themselves.
Yeah. What were you doing before you got into wellness coaching?
I used to work as a optical lab technician.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were kind of already in the
Yeah.
health space a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. Did it feel like a natural transition for you to just move into this wellness coach, or was it like was there a lot of overlap between the two before you decided to really commit?
No, so what's happened? I was just working. I was just working, like I said, as a lab technician, optical lab technician. And in 2020, I was made redundant because of the COVID and all that. And from there, I just said to myself, okay, this is a good opportunity for me to just go and start this wellness coaching.
Yeah, man, 2020 was really just a bitch for a lot of different careers, a lot of different folks, like in so many different industries. It really just screwed so many things up. But I love it whenever it's like I was made redundant. I decided that was my time. That was my time to do this and to really shine. And it seems like it's worked out for you pretty well. Any regrets?
Yeah. No, and no regret at all. I'm really, really happy that I'm doing this, because now I can manage my own time the way I want, instead of just, for example, if I want to go on holiday, I have to ask for my manager and stuff like that. Now I can really, really manage my time the way I want, and I'm really, really happy for that.
Yeah. That little bit of freedom is nice to have. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you now balance your work, any hobbies, your writing with your books and everything, and taking care of your own well-being?
Yeah, so what I do is that I've really, really put like a schedule that I follow rigorously. So, for example, I usually wake up at 7 a.m. I will go through my morning routine and all that. And at 10, I will start, if I've got some coaching calls and stuff like that, I will do that. And then at 12, I will take a break. And then at 2 p.m., I will start again until 5. And after 5, I put work aside. And now, for example, I will be with my family. I'll listen to YouTube, music, or I will read books and stuff like that. So that's how I really, really get everything balanced. So everything has its own time. And when I'm doing something else, I don't like to mix things up. I just did it. For example, like I said, when I'm doing my coaching, that's what I do. And when it's time to be relaxed, to be with my family, I don't mix stuff. So that's exactly what I do. So, for example, at night, I will not go and start reading emails and stuff like that. So that's how I keep everything balanced.
Yeah, kind of that compartmentalization and just really staying on top of this is the time I am dedicating to this. This is the time I am not distracted by other things. It's really great. It's really great to be able to do that and to be able to build a schedule that works for you. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You mentioned reading. Is there a book that's a favorite of yours, or that you feel like more folks should take the time to read, maybe?
Yeah, the book that had a very profound impact on me is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's a great, great book. It's very small, but it's a very good book, because in that book, it shows us that our thought had a profound impact on our character, our circumstances, and our destiny. And basically, when we have positive thought, most of the time, it gives us success, peace, and good health. And when we entertain negative thought, most of the time, it creates failure, suffering, and disease. So basically, the book shows us that we are architect of our lives, and all the stuff that don't happen by chance. So when you mostly think positively, you will attract positive stuff. You think negatively, that's what you're going to attract. It's like, for example, let's say a woman wants to be in a relationship, but she thinks that she hasn't got a great body. She thinks that she's not. She thinks that she's ugly and stuff like that. Basically, she's not going to be able to attract somebody in her life. But she will think that, oh, maybe I'm not lucky and stuff like that. But it's the thoughts that she entertains most of the time which will prevent her from being in a relationship. So that's why people really, really need to try to be positive most of the time. They need to look at what goes into their mind. So that's the book had a profound impact on myself.
And you said it's pretty short. It's a pretty short book?
Yes, it's just 50 pages or something.
Oh, that's
so
great.
in an hour you finish the book.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I am all for little short books that I can just finish really quick. I've read quite a few books this year. I just saw a meme today that was like, every time you finish a book, you get to get yourself a personal pan pizza or something. And it's like, I need to come up with some sort of reward. But then the problem with coming up with a reward for finishing a book is I finish books pretty quickly, and it would just be like, all right, what's my reward now? That's too many rewards.
Yeah.
Well, I think I set my goal this year to read 45 books, and I've read 23, so I'm a few books ahead of schedule. But hey, a 50-page book, I could just fit that in real quick. That sounds great. I'll add it to my want to read list for sure.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah. Now, speaking of books, we did have a couple of questions sent in ahead of time about your book, and about you as well. So you mentioned that you speak 4 different languages. So English, French, what are the other 2?
The other 2 are, because I'm originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, so it's 2 languages. It's called Lingala and Kikongo.
Okay, all right.
I speak French, English, Lingala, and Kikongo.
Nice. And the other question is also related to that. Are your books translated into all 4 languages?
No, just French and English.
Do you have plans to translate them into the other languages as well?
No.
No? Oh.
No.
Not a market for it, or why not?
It's not a market for, and it's a little bit bizarre, but it's English and French that I speak better than those 2 other languages. And it's going to be difficult for me to translate that. For example, if I've got some words in French or in English, I will not be able to find those words in those languages. So it's going to be pointless.
Yeah, that's fair. And we've actually had a similar, I've had a guest in the past who wrote a book, and she was like, I speak all these languages, but I'm only translating it into these. And that was kind of her reason too. She was like, there are some things that just don't translate well into other languages. And so it's like, it was the fundamentals of her book that she was like, I can't get this to feed across the right way. So she said it wasn't going to be worth the kind of pain and heartache to try to get what her concept was into these other languages. So interesting to hear someone else say something very similar.
Yeah.
So getting into our topic tonight, what is the difference between plant-based and vegan, and how would you explain the core benefits of a plant-based diet to someone who's maybe a little skeptical?
So when you look at plant-based and vegans, both of them are a little bit similar in the sense that vegans and plant-based, they don't eat animal product, they don't eat dairy product. But the big difference is that vegans, they tend to eat a lot of processed food. But when you are on a plant-based nutrition, you tend not to eat that. You tend to eat stuff like fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and seed, something which are fresh, fresh. So that's the kind of food that you tend to eat. But when for vegans, they like to eat a lot of stuff in cans, in packages, stuff like that. So that's the big difference. And for people who would like to are skeptical, they need to understand that when you adopt a plant-based nutrition, you can reap a lot of benefits because all those foods, the fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed, they've got lots of nutrient. For example, they've got protein. When you eat beans, you eat lentils, you eat chickpeas, they've got lots of protein. They've got fat as well. For example, avocados, nuts, or for example, in those nutrients, you've got the carbs. You can have potatoes, you can have quinoa, you can have brown rice, and they've got lots of vitamins like vitamin C, K, A, E, and lots of minerals that you don't find in animal product. For example, the calcium, the potassium, the magnesium, and stuff like that. And because of that, it will really prevent you from. It's going to reduce inflammation. It's going to you'll be able to manage your weight properly. It's going to reduce the risk of having cardiovascular diseases. It's going to improve your digestive health and stuff like that. It's like, for example, when you look at all this food, they've got lots of fiber, and the fiber will clean your GI tract. And when we look, we will see that 70% of the chronic diseases start in the intestine. But when you're eating those food with all the fiber, it's going to clean up your GI tract, and it's going to give you a head start. And for example, when you eat meat, meat has got no fiber, and it creates constipation. And there are people who go to the toilet maybe every 3 days, or for 3 days they will not go to the toilet, 4 days, even a week. And this is very, very detrimental to the human mechanism. And because of that, all the toxins, all the fecal matter will be reabsorbed into the bloodstream. And that's why people will start suffering from chronic diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer, Parkinson, arthritis, and all the autoimmune diseases where the body destroys itself, like the inflammatory bowel disease, the lupus, the psoriasis, the rheumatoid arthritis, and all that. And so when you eat all these foods, automatically you're not going to suffer from constipation because of that. And when you eat plant-based nutrition, you will tend to be lean, and this will avoid you from having high blood pressure, from having type 2 diabetes. And it's going to, like I've just said, it's going to reduce the inflammation because of lots of the nutrient and the antioxidant that all this food has got. And basically as well, you're going to avoid all the cardiovascular diseases. So that's what people need to, or are skeptical, they need to understand that this is really something that is going to prevent you from having all these diseases. And even when you look at people who live in the blue zones, which is in Japan, in Greece, in United States as well. So when you look at these people, they live longer. And when you look, even though they eat a little bit of meat, but most of their food are fresh food, like fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed. So that's what people need to understand. If they're still skeptical, they believe that maybe it's not going to work yet.
I'm glad you brought up blue zones, because I was going to ask kind of a question that was very similar to the blue zones concept, because the blue zones concept is not cut out all meat, but it is very much emphasized on that eat whole foods, eat fresh foods, eat foods that are available and not processed necessarily. But they don't eliminate meat necessarily, especially things like fish. You know, they've got an emphasis on that. If there's fresh fish near you, they encourage you to partake in that part of the community and everything. So I'm wondering, is there a huge benefit to cutting out meat entirely, or is it just really the focus on those whole foods, and the plant-based is what provides the basis for that?
Yeah, so basically what people need to understand is that if you reduce the amount of animal product that you eat, you're going to have some benefit. So the less animal product you eat, the better your health will be. So it's going to be to each one to decide what they want. For example, for me, I really, really wanted to create a high level of health for myself, and that's why I've decided to cut completely any animal product. But when I'm doing my coaching, for people who cannot really stop eating animal product, I will ask them, for example, out of 7 days to eat just for 2 days, they can have the animal product, and they need to use that as a condiment, just to spice up their food and stuff like that, but not eat too much. And when people do that, yes, they will still find they will be able to create a high level of health for themselves as well. It's like when we're talking about the blue zone, you can see that most of the food are fruit, vegetables, legumes, grains, and seeds, but they eat a little bit of meat, fish, and stuff like that. So that's what people need to understand. But for me, for example, like you've read in in my bio, for the past 9 years, I've not been sick a single day. And this is because I've cut out all these things. But when you still eat a little bit of animal product and stuff, yes, sometimes you can get sick.
Yeah, yeah. It's so when you say you haven't been sick for that long, like not even allergies or anything?
Nothing, nothing,
Wow.
not even a cough, nothing. And for the past 10 years, I've not taken a single pill, not even a paracetamol or a painkiller or something like that, because I don't get sick.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, no allergy, no cough, nothing, no
Yeah.
headaches, nothing at all.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I mean, congratulations. That's worth celebrating right there. I can't
yeah,
I've had headaches pretty much all my life. I can't imagine a life without headaches. So if I could get to that, that'd be great. But I mean I have tried plant-based in the past and it didn't cure that in particular, but yeah, I mean it's wonderful. If you can find something that works for you that makes you not get sick at all, that's incredible. That's really great.
yeah.
Are there any common misconceptions or myths about plant-based eating that you hear all the time?
Yeah. So, for example, people will say that when you eat a plant-based nutrition, you're not you're going to be protein deficient. You're not
Mm,
going to have all your protein requirement met. But this is completely false because usually what I ask people, I said, okay, look at the gorilla with whom we share 99% of the same DNA, which means that our digestive tract are practically the same. But what do gorilla eat? They eat fruit, vegetables, and tender roots. Gorilla do not eat meat, but you can see they are very muscular, they are very powerful. So where do they get their protein from? From the fruit, vegetables, and tender roots. You look at animals like the cow, the giraffe, the rhino, uh, all these animals, they don't, elephant, which is the biggest and strongest land animal, they don't eat meat, but they still have protein just for the grass that they're eating. So people need to understand that when you don't eat animal product, you're not going to suffer from being protein deficient. Because, for example, for me, for the past 9 years, I've not had any animal product and I'm not protein deficient. Because when I eat lentils, I eat chickpeas, I eat beans, they've got lots of protein. And that's what people need to understand. That
yeah.
when you don't eat animal product, you're not going to suffer from, you're not going to be protein deficient.
Yeah, I'm
And there's
sure that's
another
a big
thing as
one.
well. Yeah. And there's another thing as well. They say that, oh, when you eat plant-based nutrition, you're going to be weak. This is completely false. Again, you look at the gorilla, is very strong. Rhino, very strong. The elephant, very strong. So this is completely false. And for example, in my case, I remember when I used to eat all these animal products, I was always tired. But
Mm,
now I don't even remember one day waking up in the morning and feeling tired. It doesn't happen anymore. So this is something that people need to know as well.
yeah, maybe tomorrow, since you're up so late, you might feel a little tired tomorrow, but you can blame me for that. You can blame me for that. Oh, Bite Mark says that might be a good book talking about the James Allen book. That might be a good one for you to listen. Wow, that might be a good one to listen to for your audiobook goal since it's a short one. I think I found the author that I like for audiobooks so far has been John Mars. If you're into suspense books, thriller, psychological, I've been listening to his audiobooks. Like I'm already done with the one for June. And until I found these books, I was trying to listen. My goal is to listen to one audiobook every month, in addition to just all these books that I'm trying to read. And since I found his books, like I have not had a problem listening to an audiobook every single day. It's been great.
Yeah.
I'm already done with the one for June, but I'll see if this one is in, because I did just finish one yesterday, so I'll have to see if this one's in an audio form and just pop it in my ears. I listen while I cook, and so it's kind of replaced podcasts
Yeah,
for
but
me.
if you go on YouTube, you've got the audio version of As a Man Thinketh by
Oh, that's
James
awesome.
Allen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go find it. I'll go find it on YouTube and listen to it. That'll be nice and easy for sure.
Yeah.
So, what were the turning points for you that made you really fully commit to a plant-based nutrition lifestyle?
Yeah, so to be able to answer that, I will go back a little bit in time. So basically, like I said, I'm originally from Africa. So over there, when I was growing up, at that time when I was growing up, there were no computer games, no video games, and stuff like that. So we were very active. We had to go out, play outside, climbing trees, running around, and always we were in movement. And I was as well, which is completely different from the kids of today who are glued to their screens and stuff. And I was not as well exposed to too much animal product, dairy product, and processed food. So when I was growing up, I was very lean. There was no problem at all. So my problem only started when I left my country. I went first to South Africa, where I spent a year, and I came here in the UK. And here I was exposed to a lot of animal product, dairy product, and processed food. And I starting to eat a lot of that. And I really, really developed a very bad eating habit, because even at midnight, I will still have my bottle of Coca-Cola with some biscuits, some cakes, and stuff like that. And because of that, I starting to put on weight. And at my heaviest, I was 220 pounds. And I starting to have lots of chronic diseases. And this was very, very bad. And when I went to the doctors, they told me that they could only give me medication, and I didn't want that. And so I didn't know what else to do. And that's when I decided that I was going to go plant-based nutrition. And what's happened is that I was just watching one day a video on YouTube, and there was an Indian yogi who suggested that by stopping eating animal product, it was possible to reverse 70% of the chronic diseases. And because my health was pretty bad, I said, okay, I will do that. And that's how I decided that I was going to stick to a plant-based nutrition.
Yeah, you thought, yeah, I'll just give it a shot. It can't hurt. Can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Like it's only gonna it's either gonna work, or I'll just go back to how I was eating before. So you said you didn't grow up eating a lot of animal-based products and all of that when you were a kid. It was mostly plant-based then.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
That's interesting. It's really so my youngest really likes vegetables and fruits, and he does like cheese. I will say he likes cheese, but he also really, really enjoys things like fish. And it's just not necessarily something that, growing when I was raising my oldest, he didn't really like fish that much, but he still loved all the fruits and vegetables and everything. And it's like we would treat things like a treat. We would say, okay, well, if we go somewhere with a burger and fries, that's a treat for us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you grow up where it's just absolutely not available, it's like that's just what you're used to. Was it when you went to South Africa and then to the UK? Was it a huge culture shock for you, like for your body to kind of have those foods, or were you just so happy to have these new things that you went all in on them?
Yes, because when I was back home, I didn't eat all this food. So when I started to eat them, they were tasty, and I starting to eat a lot of them. So it's in South Africa that I starting to put on weight. And when I came in here in the UK, it's exploded.
Yeah.
Because I was like kind of addicted to this food, lots of animal product, dairy product, and lots of milk, ice cream, and stuff like that, chocolate. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. Now you mentioned some chronic conditions that you were maybe at this kind of starting point of that. What chronic conditions were you facing whenever you decided to make this change?
Yeah, so I was suffering from high blood pressure.
Mm.
And high blood pressure is a very dangerous disease. And people need to know that 50% of people who suffer from cardiovascular diseases or problem with the kidneys, it's because of high blood pressure. So high blood pressure is a very dangerous disease. I was suffering from headaches. Every day or every other day, I had to have some massive headaches. And in fact, I had to have some painkillers in my wallet all the time because of that. I had dandruff, chest pain, back pain, abscesses, joint pain, and a lot of dental problems. Like I told you, because of my bad eating habits. So every 2 to 3 months, I had to see the dentist.
Oh, wow.
And for my blood pressure, the doctor told me that, okay, Olivier, there's nothing else we can do. We need to put you on medication for the rest of your life. And at that time, I didn't want that, even though I didn't know what I know now. But I said, no, I don't want that. And he said, okay, what are you going to do? I said, okay, I'm going to join a martial art club. So I went and starting to do karate. And I did that for 4 years, but my blood pressure didn't change. It was still high. And like I just said, it's only when I saw that Indian yogi, I decided that I was going to do that. It was Wednesday that I watched the program. It was a Wednesday that I watched the program. On Thursday, I came back from work. I had my last meal of meat, and on Friday, I went cold turkey. And what happened is that after 4 months, I went back to the doctor who told me that I will be on medication for the rest of my life, and my blood pressure was completely gone. And after 9 months, I was able to lose 77 pounds. And if you look, this is me the way I used to be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a
So
difference.
I was able to lose 77 pounds in 9 months, and all my chronic diseases completely disappeared. So I don't suffer from headaches anymore. No chest pain, no back pain, no abscesses, no joint pain. Every single ailment is gone. And like I've just said, for the past 9 years, I've not been sick a single day. And for the past 10 years, I've not taken a single pill. And on top of that, I've been able to really slow down my aging process, because a lot of people, when they see me, they think that I am in my late 20s, but I'm actually 55.
Yeah. So what has surprised you most? Like all those changes you just listed, which was a lot. And especially in, like you said, 4 months and 6 months, those are incredible changes. And just like that timeline is wild. And I'm sure your doctor was going, whoa, what? Like that's gotta be crazy. But what surprised you the most about the changes that you experienced?
Yeah, what surprised me the most is that I had one of my fingernails was completely damaged. Was completely damaged. I even went to the doctors. At that time, they gave me some medication and stuff like that, but there was no changes. But when I adopted this lifestyle, I was able to do a 3-day fast. So for 3 days, I fasted. I was only drinking water. And after a week, when I looked at my finger, it was completely restored. So this
Wow.
was really, really shocking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely restored.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so it was your fingernail was it broken? Was it bruised? What was the deal with it?
Yeah. So basically, it was this one.
Mm-hmm.
The nail was completely damaged. So it was black. It was
Yeah.
black and very painful and stuff.
Mm,
So I didn't know what else to do. And when I went to the doctors, they just gave me some painkillers and stuff like that.
yeah.
But when I did that three-day fast, it was after a week. I was surprised. I just looked at my finger. It was completely restored.
Wow.
So that was a
Little
bigger
surprise.
shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
Unexpected.
surprise. Yeah,
Yeah. Now
yeah.
you talked
Because
about oh, go ahead.
what people need to understand is that fasting is the biggest way to when we are sick. The best way to for the body to be able to repair itself is by fasting, and that's why you will see all the animals in the entire kingdom, when they are sick, the first thing that they do is to stop eating,
Hmm.
because when we digest food, our body spends 80% of its energy to digest the food. And that's why, for example, when you eat a heavy meal, after 15-20 minutes, you start dozing off, because most of the blood will leave the brain area and will go to the belly area to start the digestion process. So it's a very heavy process on the system. And that's why when you are sick, people don't feel they need to eat. They lost the appetite because the body wants to use that energy to be able to heal the body. But in the society, when people are sick, they force them to eat, even though they don't feel eating, like eating. While the body is is wise, it knows that, okay, I will make this person not feel hungry anymore, so that this energy, the energy that I will normally spend to digest the food, I will use that to heal the body, because the body is self-healing. And that's what people need to understand. And that's why when I did that 3-day fast, my body was able to heal that broken fingernail.
Interesting. So do you still fast? Is that still part of your routine? Is there like a every periodic amount of time or something you go on a fast, or is it just as needed?
No. For the time being, what I do is intermittent fasting. So every day, that's what I do. So I eat. I don't have breakfast. So my first meal is at 12 p.m. And my second meal is at 6 p.m. And so basically, after 6 p.m., the next day when I eat, it's like 18 hours without me having anything to eat. And between meals, I don't eat anymore. I don't snack. So it's like I'm spending, like, I would say 19, 20 hours without digesting food. So I do that every single day. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the 4-month timeline of you already had changed, your blood pressure and everything. Is that realistic for everyone? How quickly could someone expect to see improvements when they change their eating habits to a plant-based diet?
Yeah, for that it will be difficult for me to say, because everyone is different. It depends on your body size. It depends on what you eat. If you take some medication, if you are already having some chronic disease. So there's a lot of stuff that will be going on for me to say, okay, after maybe, I don't know, a month or something, you will see the changes. I don't know. It depends. And like I said as well, the more you leave out the bad food, like animal product, the dairy product, and the processed food, the more quickly you will see the result. For example, in my own case, like I went cold turkey, but I don't ask people to do that. I don't ask people to go cold turkey, because what's happened to me is that the following week, I had very bad detox symptoms. So I had massive headaches for 3 days that I've never had in my entire life. I had more cold sore, more abscesses, my joints starting to ache even more. And here at home, my family, they even asked me to stop. But I said, no, I'm going to continue. And after a week, all these detox symptoms disappeared. And the changes that I saw is after a week, I was able to lose already 11 pounds. So it depends on each person. But what I can say is that if you do that, after a couple of weeks, a month, you will start noticing some changes. Because, for example, there's a woman, she's in the United States, and I'm starting to coach her. She said for a lot of years she had swollen ankles. And every time when she was waking up at night to go to the bathroom, it was very difficult, very painful. But when she started the plan that designed for her, after 7 days, one night she woke up and she was very surprised that she could walk, and she looked at her ankles. It was not swollen anymore. So it just depends. And for her, she was really, really dedicated.
Yeah. I know that not everyone sees huge changes from diet alone. And you're right, it definitely does depend on each person and how quickly they're going to see results, and what they're changing from, what they're changing to. So, but how much of that is genetics and how much of that is diet itself?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly nutrition, because the genes only account for 5%. Only account for 5%, because there's something which is called epigenetic, which means that the bad genes will become bad when according the environment in which the cells are in. So, for example, you can have bad genes. If you eat the right food, they will stay dormant. They will not disturb you. But if you start eating the wrong food, then they will awaken and they will start creating lots of bad stuff. So the genes only account for 5%. So what is more important is the nutrition. It's like, for example, if you've got a car and which run on diesel, and you put petrol inside, you're going to damage the car. And people don't see the correlation. They think that, oh, we are human beings, we can eat whatever we want. No. Because when we eat whatever we want, it's going to create problems. And as you will see that most people, they treat their cars better than their own bodies. With their own bodies, they eat whatever. But for example, for cars, the manufacturers say that you need to put diesel. People put diesel, they don't put petrol. So we are what we eat. So if you eat the wrong food, it's going to create lots of damage. So the nutrition is more than the genes.
Yeah. Are there any?
It's like, for example, in my family, people tend to suffer from high blood, from diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I've got, for example, my uncle, my granddad, they die from diabetes. I've got my cousins, lots of people in my family, they've got type 2 diabetes. And for example, my brother, he was already pre-diabetic, but he's the only one who have changed his diet. He's plant-based like me. And for him, his diabetes is gone. He was pre-diabetic, it's completely gone.
That's great.
And
before
for
it got
example,
there.
for me, yeah. And for me, my level of sugar in my blood was already very high. But since adopting this plant-based nutrition, it's completely gone. So now my blood sugar is normal. So people will say that, oh, in your family, you've got that genes which runs in your family. But you can see that me and my brother, we have been able to reverse that just by eating the right food. Which what I was saying that before, that when you have bad genes, if you start eating the right food, those genes will stay dormant and they will not disturb you.
Are there any studies that have like looked into kind of the link between genetics and how that switching to a plant-based diet? Are there any studies that show those results?
Yeah, so if you look at the China study, it was done by, which doctor is it again? I forgot his name. T. Campbell. Dr. Campbell. So if people can read that, they will see that. It was a very, very big study. It's called the China study.
Yeah, T. Colin Campbell. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, awesome. I'll link that one in the chat for everybody if y'all want to look at that one for sure. So how was your mental health impacted whenever you switched over? You said like the first week there was all of this all these things that your body was going through and it wasn't really great. Would you say that your mental health suffered in that week as well? And then how did it feel after? And how are you now also?
Yeah, so I would say when during that 1 week, it was very, very difficult because I was starting to ask myself the question if I had made the right choice.
Yeah.
But because I trusted that Indian yogi, I said, okay, I will still continue to do that because my mindset was very strong. I adopted a very positive mindset because I didn't want to go back to all the suffering because I suffered a lot with all these diseases and I didn't want to go back to that. That's why I say, okay, I will continue. I will keep pressing on and see what's happened. And luckily, after a week, those detox symptoms was completely gone. And why it did happen, it's because when you start eating the right food, the body will find a lot of energy. And with those new energy found, the body will go through your all the tissues where all those toxins were buried. The body will go through there and take all these toxins and dump them in the bloodstream so that the body can get rid of them. And that's why people will start feeling very, very bad. And people will mistake and they will say, oh no, it's because I eat fruit. It's because I eat vegetables. That's why vegetables and fruit are not good. But this is not true. It's because the body is dumping all the toxin in the bloodstream for it to be, um, for the body to get rid of them through the, when you breathe or when you go to the toilet and stuff like that. And that's what people need to understand. So I would say at that time, my mindset was really, really positive. And after that, I had lots of mental clarity, lots of energy, and this has continued up to this day. So like I've just said, I don't get, I'm not tired anymore. And for example, I'm 55, but up to my age, I can still do what I was capable of doing when I was 20. So everything works perfect with me. There's no problem at all.
That's great. Have your family members and even your brother and everything, have they seen the same kind of mental clarity piece?
Yes, definitely. So for example, my brother, he was able to lose 73 pounds. For him, he was suffering from high blood pressure. He was suffering from the psoriasis. He had that for 8 years, and the doctor told him that he will have that for the rest of his life. And he was put on very strong steroid. But when he adopted this plant-based nutrition, it's completely gone. He doesn't suffer from that as well anymore. And for all that, yes, he was able to find all the mental clarity. Everything is completely different. And for me as well, I forgot to mention that now I'm more spiritual. Every morning when I wake up, I do my meditation. I try to live in the moment. I'm positive. Even when something bothers me, I don't really get into that. I try to live stress-free and stuff like that. So there was a lot of positive change in my life.
I wondered because you were talking about, following this yogi on YouTube and everything. I was going to ask, how much other things did you pick up besides the plant-based nutrition part? How much of the other practices were you able to pick up? It sounds like quite a bit. Is there anything that you're like, if you can only do one thing as far as changing your mindset goes, is there anything you would say, definitely do this?
I think the thing that people can really do to change, the one thing I would say, it's the mindset. The mindset is the most important thing, because if you don't have the right mindset, it's not going to work. It's like, for example, like I've just told you, when I went cold turkey the following week, I had lots of problems. But if I was able to go through that, it was because of my mindset. I had a really positive mindset. And it's like, for example, you will see a lot of people at the end of the year, they will take some New Year's resolution. Some people will say they will stop smoking. Some people say they will stop, they will lose weight and stuff like that. And in January, they will do that for 2-3 weeks, maximum 4 weeks, and they will revert back to the old habits because of the mindset. So if you have the wrong mindset, it's not going to work. It's impossible. So I will say that the mindset is it's really, really important.
Yeah. You said you went cold turkey. If someone's not ready to go fully plant-based cold turkey, what are some small beginner-friendly changes that folks can make?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't say to people to go to cold turkey, because that's
it's
you
hard.
need to have a very strong willpower to go through that. So what I will ask people to do is to start introducing the change very slowly. Very slowly. For example, if they are used to eat animal product, dairy product, processed food 7 days a week, what they can do, for 2 days, they can go plant-based. And for the other 5 days, they can continue to eat the way they eat. And they can start introducing, for example, for their breakfast, instead of eating all these breads, cheese, salami and all these things, maybe they can start introducing a little bit of fruit, a little bit of stuff like maybe porridge with with blueberries, with strawberries and stuff like that. So introduce that very slowly, but consistently. And then after maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, instead of 5 days, they can reduce that to 4 days. So they introduce these changes very slowly. And what they need to understand as well, they need not to be very hard with themselves. If, for example, they decided to do something and they fall, they need just to pick themselves up, and they don't have to feel guilty and stuff like that. They need just to forgive themselves and say, okay, I fall, I will continue, and be very gentle with themselves. So that's what I will say to people. If they cannot go straight in, they need to just do a very simple change, but consistently.
Yeah, making a big change like that, you got to give yourself the grace and the space to have some. You're going to make mistakes, right? Like anytime you're trying to make a change, you're going to make mistakes. I mentioned how much I read. I was on a reading streak on my Kindle and I missed one day by like 30 minutes. And I was like, dang it, man, that really sucks. And it's one of those things, it's like, okay, it's all right. You just start over, just start again the next day. Like that's all you can do. You just gotta, it's not like I'm going to stop reading. I just gotta get back to it the next day. But you gotta not beat yourself up about it, which is a lot harder than just saying, "Oh, don't beat yourself up about that." Like that's hard. It's hard to do sometimes. So, yeah, I mean that kind of goes back to the mindset as well.
Yeah.
How do you support people who struggle with either consistency or maybe more specifically with emotional eating?
Yeah, so for that, what I would say is that we come back again to the mindset, because if they need to have a positive mindset, they need to not be like a victim, because when you play the victim, it's difficult for things to work. People just need to say to themselves that, okay, I've got maybe emotional eating and stuff. And what I can do is they need to find, they don't have to use the willpower, because the willpower will take them so far. What they need to do, they need to use the why power. They need to find a good reason for them to stay on track. For example, if you've got kids, you can say to yourself, okay, I would like to see my kids growing up. I would like to see them getting married, having kids and stuff. And for me to be around, I need to have good health. And because of that, I will try to start introducing the changes very slowly, and try to change what's wrong with me, what's wrong with my eating habits and stuff. So people need to really, really find what is called the why power and not the willpower. So they need to do that. So change the mindset and introduce the why power so that they can get the thing rolling.
I love the why power instead of the willpower. I think that's really something that I haven't heard it put that I haven't heard it put that way. So being like, what's your why? What's your reason for doing this? Instead of saying like, this is something that I'm going to force myself through. It's something I'm going to be a hard head about and just get through it. And I'm going to be perfect about it. It's like, okay, just remind yourself why you're doing this. I like that a lot. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's one thing you wish everyone knew about food and chronic diseases?
What I would like people to know is that they need to understand that we are what we eat. If you eat the wrong food, you're going to be sick. There's no way around it. You're going to be sick. And being sick is a choice. Being sick is a choice. So if you eat the right food, you're going to create a high level of health for yourself. You eat the wrong food, you're going to have problems. That's what people need to understand, that correlation. It's just because when you eat the wrong food, the body doesn't, you don't get sick straight away. It takes time. It takes years. And that's why people cannot make the correlation. They think that, maybe most people will say it's the genes. Because when you say it's the genes, then you become powerless. There's nothing you can do. But like I've told you, most of the time, it's the genes only account for 5%. 90% or 95%, it's the food that we eat. So I really, really want people to understand that when you make the wrong choices, you start eating the wrong food, you're going to be sick. There's no way around it. So if people start making good dietary choices, they will be able to create a high level of health for themselves. Because, for example, for me, people used to say, or people continue to say that when you grow older, you need to be sick. It's a must. But for me, I started this process when I was 46. Today I'm 55, and my health is getting better and better. So it's not, you don't have to be sick. Being sick is a
Yeah.
choice, like I've just said.
Yeah. Is it, so are you of the opinion that it's all diseases that can be cured with plant-based nutrition, or is it just most, some, mainly chronic ones? What's your take on that?
Yeah. So, for example, if you've got a genetic disease, I don't think that the nutrition will cure you from
Yeah.
that. But what it's going to make, the symptoms less offensive. It's going to disturb you less, but it's not going to cure you.
Yeah.
But for chronic diseases, yeah.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to clarify that, because there's definitely some things that, like, if you get sick with this, it's not, you can't place the blame on your nutrition all the time, and I want to make that really clear. Like, just because you got sick doesn't mean that it's something that you did, that it's your fault or anything like that. But I like the way that you put that what you're putting into your body and your diet that you're choosing can make your life around what you're dealing with a little bit better at the same time. Even if it's not something that can be cured through a plant-based nutrition, it's something that, maybe could make other parts of your life a little bit more enjoyable while you're dealing with that over on the other side.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got a genetic disease, the nutrition will not be able to cure that, because it's in your genes. It will just make that bearable. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite life hack?
My favorite life hack is, people will maybe find it a little bit bizarre, but that's my experience. For example, if you have you've been bitten by I don't know, a mosquito or a bee or ants or something like that, what I've done for me is to use my own urine and put that on top of it. And when I do that, it's for example, it was itching or it was very painful. You find instant relief, and the itching stop completely. Or for example, sometimes if when I'm cooking, and for example, you've got a little bit of oil who comes on my hand, when I put the urine, really instant relief, and the process of healing goes very, very fast. So that's what I've noticed with the urine.
Interesting. Yeah, that one's not going to be for everyone, for sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
listen, they say, like, there's is a jellyfish stings that you're supposed to pee on if you get a jellyfish sting and that kind of thing. So I'm sure there's something in maybe the ammonia in urine or something like that, that really does relieve that and everything. But I'm sure that won't be for everyone. But maybe for some people, they'll give it a try and it'll work for them too.
Yeah, because I've done that myself, and it has worked every time. Every time it has worked.
Interesting.
For example, the other day I was cutting the grass in my garden, and I don't know what I went, and it started to be very itch on my leg, and I put some urine, instant relief. It was completely gone straight away.
Interesting. Well, it is time for the magic moment of the stream. Let me see if this will turn on today. Maybe not. If you could wave a magic wand and eliminate... Oh, there it goes. Look, that was magic. And eliminate one common opinion or misconception surrounding mental illness, disabilities, or talking about mental health, what would it be?
Yeah, so for that, what I will say is that when people have got mental illness, usually they are labeled as broken, lazy, or less than. And I think that even though mental health is invisible, it deserves the same compassion with the physical diseases. Because when, for example, someone has got cancer, people will be compassionate and stuff. But when people are suffering from mental illness, they will say, just snap out of it. It's like you inventing. And I really, really want that to change, for people to be compassionate towards people who are suffering from mental illnesses. And what as well I can say is that when we become more compassionate, these people will be able to seek help earlier rather than later, and to really remove that stigma that people who have mental illness they put on them. And that's what I will really, really change, because when you have mental illness, it's your brain which suffer the most, and the brain controls practically everything. And I really think that we need to keep repeating myself, but I want to really drive the point is that we need to be compassionate. We need to treat them with all the love, instead of just thinking that maybe they are making this up and stuff like that, and really, really remove the stigma.
Yeah, I've heard the comparison of mental illnesses to like a leg cramp. You can't see a leg cramp, but if someone tells you they're having a leg cramp, that's what's happening. If someone tells you that they're having trouble with the organ inside their head called the brain, that's what's happening. So you gotta give them the same compassion you would if they're having a leg cramp. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Is there something I can do to help you? That's it. That's all you gotta do. And it's such a huge shift in perspective of like, here's something else you can't see, and you don't doubt them whenever they say that it's a leg cramp. So you also can't see depression. Don't doubt them whenever they say that they're having depression, and ask them how you can help. That's really all that you need to do, instead of just saying things like snap out of it. I hate that. That one's the worst.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. let me just snap out of it. My bad. Why didn't I think of that? Come on now.
Yeah.
Well, we are winding down our conversation. So folks who are here with us still, if you have any questions for Olivier, please feel free to pop those into the chat. I am going to post your socials one more time so that folks can find you, connect with you, find your book, all that good stuff, sign up for your masterclass and everything. While I do that, if there's anything that you would like to share that maybe we didn't get to mention or anything like that, resources, I'll just turn the floor over to you so I can share these links one more time.
Yeah, so what I would like to say is that when we are born on this earth, the most important thing that we have is our body. It's our temple, and we've only got one. So we need to make sure that we're in good health so that we can have a longer and fruitful life. We are the master, and we've got the power to change whatever we want. So we are in the driving seat. We are not the victim. And if we start really adopting the right mindset, we see the way that the things that way, and we really take good decision most of the time, we'll be able to have a very good life. And I really, really want to stress out that we only got one body. You cannot change your body. That's the body that you're going to have for the rest of your life. So you need to treat it with respect. It's your temple. And when you do that, things will be great for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much just for taking the time to join us. I know it's really late where you are, so huge recognition for just the willingness to come on here and share your story. I appreciate you and doing that with us here tonight for sure. And folks, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be on your show so that I can try to help my brothers and sisters to see that they are not victims, and there's always a way out, even if they are sick.
Yes, perfect. All right, folks, give me just a minute to disconnect with Olivier off the air, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stick around.